London, England, home to everyone who is anyone, from Paddington Bear to the Queen. This great capital has stood at the forefront of industry and culture for a millennia. Best known for our dry wit and wet weather, it is really the people and history of London that make this city so great. We're bringing you a comprehensive guide of all things to see and do in London. From food and drink to unique local attractions, follow us on a journey through this capital steeped in history and discover the hidden wonders of this magnificent city. This is Discover London.
Hello, I'm Olivia Cox.
And I'm Derek O'Reilly, and together we're going to take you on a tour of London. This week we are in Marylebone and Fitzrovia, an area that still has a village feel, even though it's in the heart of London.
Welcome to Love London. Hi, Derek.
Our first stop today is to meet historian Richard Watkins. He's in a local gem that has been at the heart of Marylebone life for over 100 years.
The Roths family were German immigrants who came over in 1900 and set up this shop. And you know, the look of the place has hardly changed ever since, and they're on to their, fourth or fifth generation now in the family,
Oh,
still
really?
running it, still holding the same traditional approach to customer service.
Yeah, because it does still have that kind of villagey feel, doesn't it? It almost feels like we've gone back into the past coming in here.
As a London taxi driver, I'm familiar with all these streets around here. Can you just tell me how some of them got their names?
Perhaps this goes back to the early 1700s, and a chap called Robert Harley, you see, married the daughter of the Duke of Newcastle and inherited a vast acreage of land. He then started to name all the streets after his family and his titles. So, of course, Harley Street is very famous. Cavendish Square, again, part of the family name of when the successive generations developed. He became the Duke of Oxford. So there we have Oxford Street.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Which before used to be called Tyburn Lane, after the Tyburn tree. About 7 centuries of rather gruesome executions in London.
So when you say execution, do you mean hanging?
Yes, it was basically hanging at Tyburn Tree. It was like a day out, and the street along Tyburn Way, which is now Oxford Street, would be lined with hawkers and sellers and people selling souvenirs. But then in the 1700s, as Marylebone was being developed to be quite an aristocratic and well-appointed area, so then it was stopped in the 1780s.
Is there a reason why you think it's retained its sort of villagey feel?
The De Walden estate, they are the aristocratic family that own the sort of east part of Marylebone, and they're excellent, I think, in working with businesses and families and maintaining. Certainly there are kind of restrictions on Marylebone High Street, and I think it's fair to say that a lot of the local businesses and families don't have that sort of attitude and approach in which the De Walden estate kind of semi-imposes and encourages.
And what happens if we cross over the road into Fitzrovia?
Much of its time it was kind of North Soho, and has a little bit of a different character, I think. Fitzrovia, after Fitzroy Square, which was named after Henry Fitzroy in the 1600s, who acquired a large bit of land around there in the manor of Tottenham Court.
Is there anywhere close by to here I can bring Olivia to have a look around?
Aha! Pollock's Toy Museum. On the corner of Scala Street and Whitfield Street, just around the corner from Tottenham Court Road, is this wonderful museum of the history of toys. And it really is a big, rickety old treasure trove that you can get totally lost in. All sorts of wonderful things. Lovely old rocking horses. I mean, it's a wonder to sort of think of the child playing on that rocking horse of 1840. The most important collections there are the theatre sets. The artwork you can see on them, there's one, the King's Theatre, is just really gorgeous, and because this actually harks back to the beginnings of the collection, and the name Pollock's, it was the byword for flat-pack theatre sets. And Robert Louis Stevenson said, anyone who loves art, folly or the bright eyes of children speed to Pollux.
What about here on Marylebone Lane? Are there any other gems that we need to go and check out?
Just across the road on Marylebone Lane here, there's a wonderful oddity of a shop called the Button Queen, and I do recommend that you go and have a look in there.
Lovely, that's where we're going to head off to
Great,
next.
let's go have a look. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Button Queen. We have been here specialising in buttons at this location for almost 7 years, but we've been in this section of Marylebone Lane for 40 years. My mother started the business 60 years ago, and the Button Queen was a nickname that she picked up in the markets. We have buttons from 18th century right through to the present day. And we get button collectors, we have people from Savile Row and the designers. Right back in the 19th century, you get Satsuma buttons from Japan. They were all made for export. Now the Japanese and the Chinese are realising what was sent over to the West.
So they're curious
Tourists.
to see about their heritage
Exactly.
that came over to us.
We are what is known these days as a destination shop.
I'm John Gilhooly and I'm Artistic and Executive Director of Wigmore Hall here in the centre of Marylebone. We're a stone's throw from Cavendish Square, from Oxford Street, and this is one of the great concert halls of the world. The hall continues to attract huge audiences and has a huge international remit through broadcasting online on the BBC and on television. This is one of the great chamber spaces in the world. You see wonderful mahogany on the walls, these beautiful seats, this beautiful setting, all of which contributes to a glorious acoustic. And many singers and string players tell me that this is probably the best acoustic in the world for chamber music, for string quartets, for song recitals, for early music, and it's loved as an acoustic jazz setting. The cupola over the stage depicts the god of music, Apollo, the god of music. Some people love it, some people absolutely hate it, but I notice new visitors always looking at it during concerts, and it's central to our image. The artists really like the idea of the god of music looking down on them as they perform here. Something of the many, many thousands of concerts that have happened here over the years seems to linger in the air, again adding to the legend of the hall and to the reason why all the top international stars want to be here. It was in 1976 that the great pianist Rubinstein decided to make his farewell recital here. He didn't tell anybody beforehand. He was the best part of 90, he was almost blind, and he stood up from the piano and said, "This is one of the most wonderful places in the world, and I'd just like to tell the world that I'm bowing out here tonight." Rubinstein's endorsement of the whole then brought all the great singers like Janet Baker, later Dame Felicity Lott, Sir Thomas Allen, pianists such as Anders Schiff made his debut here in 1978. It's a very significant calling card in the international chamber music world.
The hall has concerts 7 days a week for lovers of chamber music, early music and song.
So Darren, where are we now?
Well, we're in the heart of central London in Portman Square, and this square has an incredible history. It was built in 1764 by William Henry Portman.
Oh, so that's how it gets its name?
Absolutely.
Ah.
We're going to take a trip into the Hyatt Regency Hotel across the way. When I teach taxi drivers the knowledge of London, one of the ways that we catch them out, when you enter this hotel, you enter from Portman Square.
Yeah, there.
But when you leave it out through Upper Berkeley Street.
Oh.
So when we're actually asking them for the location of the hotel, they'll give me Portman Square. However, When I say to them we now want to leave the hotel, if they still give me Portman Square, I know that they haven't done their homework and visited the square correctly.
Derek, that's really mean.
Well, it's got to be done.
I'm the head concierge here at the Hyatt Regency London, the Churchill. We're a 5-star hotel located in Portman Square in Marylebone. We've got 434 rooms, including suites. We've got 2 restaurants. One is the Montague restaurant, which serves British cuisine. We've also got Locanda Locatelli, which is a famous Michelin star restaurant. And we're here in the Churchill Bar within the hotel. The bar is open to the public and it's open 7 days a week. One of the things that you'll notice when you walk into the Churchill Bar is literally from one end to the other is the various different themes that all relate to Winston Churchill. The Hyatt consulted the Churchill family on some of the artefacts for the bar and the design. And also the Churchill family were here last year for a commemorative lunch. He was an avid reader of books. We did a lot of research on all the books that you'll see in the bar that we believe would have had high interest to Sir Winston Churchill. They had some soft toys and he used to use the soft toys as bookmarks when he took one of the books from the shelves. You'll see that we have some letters that were written from Clementine to Sir Winston Churchill. They were written on Blenheim Palace headed paper because that was their family home. The picture behind me there, that's titled Moths to a Flame, and it's inspired by some of the love letters between Clementine and Sir Winston. We do have a signature cocktail. It's called the Churchill Martini because it was one of the cocktails that he really loved. But he'd only have gin in it. But the other interesting fact is that the vermouth had to be present when the gin was being poured in. We have a fantastic cigar cabinet with a huge array of cigars from around the world, which you can smoke out on the bar terrace. We try and do some different themes throughout the year. We did in the past Wimbledon, Provençal Terrace, English Garden. The current theme is Narnia. On the bar terrace, we have a sculpture of young Winston in the 20s. This was made for us by the famous sculptor Lawrence Holofcener, which you will also see one of his famous sculptures down on Bond Street, which is called the Allies. And it's basically a bronze bench with Roosevelt on one side and Churchill on the other.
If you're in the mood for a traditional English meal, then how about the Golden Hind Fish and Chip Shop, which has been in business for over 100 years.
My name is Tony Christou. I'm the owner of the Golden Hind. I've been here for 14 years. The Golden Hind is located in Marylebone Lane, which is in the heart of the Marylebone area, which is, they call it a village, and it's a lovely location. The restaurant has been here for 101 years. It has, including me, 5 owners since then, 3 Italians, Greek guys from the mainland, and me, I'm from Cyprus. London is a very cosmopolitan city. I love it myself because I'm a foreigner myself. My staff can come from different parts of the world, including the Far East. And it's nice that they can speak the language of some of the customers that cannot speak the language. I think we're in most of the good food guides all over the world. In Japan, we've been into one of the biggest newspapers, which is a Yomiuri. All the Japanese that come here, they got a magazine with them with a picture of the shop here, you know. We get a lot of famous people from all over the world. We get a lot of famous British actors, sportsmen here, you know. People from the medical profession and politicians, things like that. We look forward to being here for another 100 years. The Golden Hind, I mean, not me, you know.
The Wallace Collection is a national museum inside a historic London townhouse on Manchester Square. The collection showcases an impressive variety of art that was amassed during the 18th and 19th centuries by the first 4 Marquises of Hertford and Sir Richard Wallace, the son of the 4th Marquis. Over 5,500 works of art are preserved for current and future generations to enjoy in accordance with the bequest of Lady Wallace on her death in 1897.
That's beautiful, all the detail on the barge.
The sheer range and the volume of art on display is breathtaking.
Very
Beautiful
atmospheric.
painting, though. Yeah.
And nowhere is this more apparent than upon entering the Great Gallery.
Wow, that's amazing.
Newly refurbished in 2014, it contains one of the finest collections of old master paintings in the world. The Rubens painting, The Rainbow, is an homage to the Netherlands tradition of landscape painting. When it was put up for sale in 1856, Sir Charles Eastlake tried to purchase it for the National Gallery, but was outbid by the 4th Marquis, who paid over 4,500 guineas to secure the painting for this collection. The Laughing Cavalier is an exuberant half-length portrait by Frans Hals, painted in 1624.
He's looking at me.
I feel like he's looking at me.
The work is unique for the rich colour and detail that is largely imparted by the sitter's flamboyant costume, embroidered with lace and fanciful motifs in white, gold and red threads. The study, which is often referred to as the Marie Antoinette room, is the feminine and opulent boudoir-style room in which you will find more pieces of her furniture than in any other room in the world, as well as artwork and personal effects that once belonged to the Queen. With her reputation for extravagance and frivolity, you can find the evidence of the Queen's exquisite taste in the many items on display here, which include John Henry Reisner, one of the most accomplished makers of Louis XVI furniture and a particular favourite of Marie Antoinette. The smoking room exhibits paintings and works of art from the medieval and Renaissance periods, and includes the greater part of Sir Richard Wallace's Italian Renaissance Maiolica. Originally, the room had a sumptuous oriental interior with walls lined with Turkish tiles made by the Minton factory of Stoke-on-Trent, and a small section of this original interior survives today in an alcove at the north end of the room. Not only was this highly fashionable, but it was also practical, as it ensured the smell of smoke did not linger in any fabric furnishings. The armouries house both European and Oriental arms and armour ranging from the 10th to the 19th century. In the 3 European rooms, you will find armour, sporting guns, rifles and pistols, all dating from the 16th to the 19th centuries. And in the Oriental section, you can discover extremely fine Persian, Turkish, Balkan and Arabic weapons and armour displayed, representing one of the finest collections in Britain. Because of the nature of the Wallace Collection not being lent, changed or added to, if you want to see any of these works of art, you can only ever see them here at Hertford House in Marylebone.
Okay, so I'm going to show you around one of my favourite places in London called the Listen Gallery.
OK, yeah, I've dropped off there a few times in the cab, but I've never been inside. So this could be interesting.
Amazing. Well, I'll show you around, don't worry.
Hi,
Hello,
welcome.
Winston.
How are you doing?
Nice to meet you. How are
How are
you?
you? Welcome to the Listen Gallery.
Thank you.
The gallery's been here for 50 years on this street. It started in 1967 and became known for championing conceptual work, minimal work, at a time when most London galleries weren't really looking at it. I mean, you know, this is in the infancy of things like the Tate Gallery and before conceptual art and contemporary art became a sort of lingua franca, something everyone knew about and everyone was interested in. This is our current exhibition by an American artist called Spencer Finch. This piece is actually Spencer following a bee around a meadow using a GPS so that he could plot his route. there is an element of science, there is an element of recording and documenting. That's what artists have always been doing, recording, documenting, and sort of also transforming something very simple as a flight path of a bee into something much more exciting and romantic.
This is like mind-blowing.
Well, so it's another one of Spencer's works, and he's created the light conditions of a sunrise on Mars. So taking the readings from the Pathfinder, which was one of the 1970 expeditions to Mars, he's used a light meter to gauge the exact colour and quality of light in Mars of a morning. So you're some of the first human beings to ever experience that light.
That's amazing. So when we look at it that way, it's not Mars, and if we look at it that way...
Well, he says you're supposed to look at it that way because actually that's the quality of light. And also what you'll sense, I mean, it's quite a nice warm light, but once you step out that way, you'll find you're back in planet Earth, where it's actually quite blue and maybe a bit harsh. And
quite cold.
Yeah, it's quite a cold light. So that's the blue planet, and we're in the red planet.
While you're in Marylebone, if you fancy a beer or a glass of wine, there's a great little pub in Aybrook Street, just off Marylebone High Street. The Gunmakers is where Sir Winston Churchill was known to have enjoyed the occasional drink, and is well worth a visit. Indeed, the Churchill theme pervades within the pub, alongside an unusual collection of bullet casings and memorabilia. The Gunmakers serves a good range of beers and British ales, and has over 20 different types of whisky on offer. The wine list is very comprehensive, and food is available at lunchtimes, with the Churchill hot dog a house speciality. This is a traditional English pub with a unique private bar and dining area called the Winchester Club. This was named after a bar in the hit television series Minder, featuring the late George Cole as Arthur Daly. The exterior reflects the traditional interior, and as an additional reason to visit, on Sundays the square facing the pub is home to the Marylebone Farmers Market. The Gunmakers is just a short walk from Baker Street Station.
I'm Stephen Evans. I'm the rector of St Marylebone in central London, the part of central London that includes Harley Street, Wimpole Street, Oxford Street, Baker Street, Madame Tussauds, the Royal Academy of Music and Regent's Park, so right in the heart of town. St Marylebone is named because of St Marylebone, the parish church. In fact, it's a contraction of St Mary of Tyburn, because underneath us flows the River Tyburn. Most of it, though, these days is a long way underground. Because of the growth of this part of London, there needed to be a church big enough to contain the population. And it took 4 acts of Parliament to force the vestry to build a church that was big enough for the area. It is one of the great landmarks of central London. It has a very famous cupola surrounded by golden angels that can be seen from a long way away from the church. The first marriage to take place here was Sir Stamford Raffles. Raffles had been a great explorer and also administrator and governor in what is now Singapore and the areas thereabouts, and gives his name to the hotel in Singapore. Today, St Marylebone Parish Church continues to be at the very centre of its community. We have an enormous Sunday school. We have about 160, 70 children who come. Every Monday morning, we have 1,200 people in church, so it's packed to the rafters, every space used. We have a very fine organ, which was put in 1987, and that is the practice and performance instrument for the students from the Royal Academy of Music. So every day, from 9 until 6, the students of the Academy play the organ here in church. Can get a bit much sometimes.